Undoubtedly, we had spoken a lot about ethics, and we are to look at non-consequential theory of ethics elaborately. It is not as elaborate as that of consequential teleological theory. So the deontological ethical theory, that is non-consequential ethical theory, is not as elaborate as consequential theory of ethics. So we've discussed about what ethics it is, what morality really is, differences between the types or various types of ethics. We've made mention of descriptive ethics, normative ethics, meta ethics. When we're talking about descriptive ethics, we'll be talking about ethics that deals with like reporting what it was observed as society, a group of people believe in and hold or uphold. That is descriptive. And when we are talking about normative, we are talking about the aspect of ethics that has right or wrong by itself. We can call it's a bit judgmental. It upholds what it knows or believes to be right or not, whereas descriptive ethics will just report what it observes. Meanwhile, when we are talking about meta ethics, actually is the philosophical aspect of ethical study, which study actually what morality actually really is. So also in the study of ethics, even though it's non-consequential, we really want to look at today, but because it's been a while, it's good that we refresh ourselves of what we've learned before. We can have the personal ethics, business ethics, and professional ethics. Individuals have what they believe in uphold strongly, and those forms our personal ethics, our background, our culture, the family we come from. Those are the contributors to the personal ethics. And when we are talking about our business ethics, our personal ethics has a long way to go in influencing what our business ethics will really is. Also, the industry itself in which we find ourselves will affect our business ethics, and also our worldview as individual business owners or professional. And that leads us to another aspect of ethical study, which is professional ethics. So when we're talking about our professional ethics, it simply means the profession in which we engage in and how we are to do things, especially for the mere fact that every profession usually we have the code of ethics, the code of conduct, in which members are always, majority of the time, are expected to abide by. And like Gbenga, Olatunji, now I'm a chartered accountant and happy to be one. So we have as accountants our code of ethics, which forms our professional ethics. And as we journey through our career, sometimes our ethical value could run into a very big brick wall in which we call moral dilemma, in which what we uphold very strongly as value is being tested, will be tested, and we need to decide which way to go. Let's take for example an accountant that finds himself in an organization knowing fully well what his professional ethics are, and at the same time what maybe the CEO and the business owner wants him or she to do or get involved in, how he or she wants his account to be prepared and the like. There may be moral dilemma as to should I follow the accounting principle and standard, should I follow our professional ethics of confidentiality, of competence, of professionalism, of integrity, or I should save my salary and follow what my organization really wants. So moral dilemma is another aspect of ethical study, which is as practical as our daily life. These are moral philosophies that we cannot but come across. Now we go straight into consequential and non-consequential, even though non-consequential is what we want to deal with today. But when we are talking about non-consequential, that means there is an aspect that is consequential, which we call teleological. So it's a moral philosophy and moral study that believes in the consequence of our actions or even inactions. That is, we should weigh the value and whether it is morally correct, whether our actions are morally wrong by the consequence that it has, our action has on other, other people or in our environment. So that is this, more or less the summary of teleological theory, which is theory of consequence. So it has its aspects, some aspects of egoism, utilitarianism, and the like. Egoism is all about my ego. Once I'm contented with what I do, I care less. So that is what egoism is telling us. So it's an aspect of consequential belief that once I'm satisfied with what I do, I should care less. Utilitarian, on the other hand, is the view that morally correct decision in any situation is one that produces the best possible outcome for people as a whole. Non-consequential. So now basically we've come to why we are actually making this video, which is all about non-consequential theory of ethics, which we can call deontological theory of ethics. Basically, it's an aspect of ethics that is telling us about careless about the consequence of our actions, our inactions, but we should see our actions and inactions as a duty. Duty to ourselves, duty to our community, duty to our workplace, duty to our nation, duty to the world, duty to humanity. And in as much as we are able to deliver that duty, we should not care about what the consequence is or will be to people that may have to bear the consequence of our action. So it's a study of ethics that is based on duty. What action is morally right or wrong, morally correct, is all about whether you or myself delivers our duty as expected from us. Those that actually uphold non-consequential theory, they are strong believers in duty. Deliver your duty to your community, to your environment, and care less about others. And one of the greatest philosophers, when we are talking of non-consequential, we need to mention is Professor Kant. And it's like, care less if anybody that needs to die, die, but deliver your utmost duty in good faith, even to the extent that if somebody needs to die, a friend needs to die. For example, let's say for example, I have a friend that somebody is pursuing, and if they catch up with him or her, they are going to die. The person is going to die. And I know that the person has run and hid under the chair or the table. And the people that are following to kill him or her are just coming in. So where is this friend of yours? Non-consequential is telling us that I ought not to lie. Even though I know he or she will be killed and is a friend, I should just let them know that he or she is under or hiding under the chair. That is to the extent that believers of non-consequential will go in their ethics of what is right or what is wrong. So it is believed that it's wrong to lie, which is the truth. I want to believe that you you agree it's wrong to lie. Please put in your comment whether yes, say yes or no, whether you agree. But the truth of the matter is this: it is not good to lie. But now we know that lying can save a person. Will you lie or will you not lie? So if you lie, once you lie, then you are following the consequential theory of ethics, because your lying is based on you knowing the consequence, that if they lay hold of your friend, they are going to kill him or her. So you lie to save his or her life. But the non-consequential is telling you that because we all know that lying is not good, it's not good universally, then you should not do it. You owe duty to humanity and to your righteous consciousness not to lie. So if you decided not to lie in such a situation, then you are a strong follower of non-consequential theory of ethics. Which one will you choose? So the deontological approach is therefore saying always do the right thing, even though it may have grievous consequence. Do the right thing. You just do the right thing. Do the right thing because it is right, regardless of the consequence. So it is based on duty. You hold the duty to yourself for clear conscience. You hold the duty of not lying to the world and the environment. So do not lie, regardless of the consequence. Also, do not do anything wrong because it is always wrong. Wrong will always be wrong. So do not do it because it's wrong. So this is non-consequential theory. Let me quickly see if we can touch on some aspects of it: the relativism, the situational ethics, and the like, absolutism, subjectivism. Let's quickly go into that. So justice system actually is strongly based on non-consequential theory of ethics. A judge because he or she has it a duty to judge, even though he or she is going to restrict the freedom of a person by putting him or her into jail. He or she, the judge, is conscious of the restriction, or even to the point of death, that somebody is going to die, maybe by hanging or the like. But the judge must still do justice by judging right based on the constitution of the country. So that is non-consequential theory of ethics for you. So it has main criticism which we can already even co-imagine. And one of it is that it can be very difficult to accept that a decision or action is morally right if it has undesirable consequences. You know that your judgment, you need to kill somebody, and you still go ahead to kill somebody and take the life that you know you cannot create. But that is non-consequential theory of ethics. Majority of countries in the world, even some states, even though the criminals have been judged now, states, governors, province heads find it difficult in killing now. That is the execution of criminals. Many times they just rot in jail. I wouldn't know what your view is about it, but we are talking about a practical topic in our society, in our world, and it's good that we touch on some things that are key to us and which we all can really relate with. Another criticism is that there may be situations when an individual's duty are in conflict with each other. Let's take for example, what should a professional do when the principle of his or her professional code of ethics conflict with the company's code of corporate ethics? Like the example that I cited when we were starting this video that an accountant finds himself or herself in an organization, and the CEO or the founder is telling him or her to prepare the financials in a particular way, which the accountant knows that it should not be by reason of professional ethics, professional conduct that he or she has sworn to. But this is a dilemma now. Should he go by the company's expectation and run foul of professional conduct, and integrity is lost, professionalism is lost, but he or she can still save his salary and have a food on the table for his family, shelter on the head and clothes on the back, or go by the professional ethics, lost his job, and people may not even know that an accountant lost job and the like. So these are the aspects of ethics that we need to think about, and they are practical. What will you do in such a situation? So situational ethics believes simply that is our decision, our actions, our inactions will be judged based on the situation we find ourselves, and that there is no universal rule of morality or what is right or what is wrong at a particular situation. Of course, situational ethics has its demerit and criticism, and one of it is that there is a lack of consistency. My behavior now will be different from my behavior tomorrow, even on similar situation, because there is no normative ethics at work. That is ethics that has its own mind made up about what is right or not. I hope we do not forget what normative ethics is. That's why I'm using it as example and as a reminder. Also, another potent criticism of situational ethics is that as a result of inconsistency in our actions due to our moral philosophy that we believe in, it can be argued that there are no ethical or moral guideline that is even guiding our behavior. And if somebody lacks moral compass, the person becomes unpredictable, cannot just predict their action. Even themselves, himself or herself, could not even predict themselves. So there's no radar, and we know that it's not good to live a life like that. So let's quickly touch on absolutism, relativism, and ethical subjectivism. So when we are talking about this, there are opposing views, the absolutism especially and the relativism. So when we are talking about something being absolute, we are talking about it being objective. It is constant. We can predict it. We can predict the action. We can predict the inaction. And when we are talking about relativism, is subjective based on the situation, just like the situation. Based on the situation we find ourselves, we are going to react based on our mood changes. And we understand that there are a lot of influencers that influence our behavior. So an absolute same ethics is one that there are absolute moral standard against which the morality of an action should be judged. So we can call this one, under what category can we call this particular ethics? So put it on the comment. I almost mentioned it, but it's good that I give to us as an assignment, having gone through the ethics series. So what ethics is this aspect? When there is a standard against which we can measure what is right or what is not wrong, when we can actually judge the morality of an action or inaction. Under what category can we classify such action? So relativism is saying that an action or inaction is morally right or morally incorrect based on the situation that the actor finds himself. So morality is relative to the ethical norms that are accepted by the society at a particular time. So what is right in a society, in one society, may be considered wrong in another society. And what is considered wrong in a moment of time might be considered right several years later, because things keep changing. And we can break relativism down to also into descriptive. Don't forget descriptive ethics. So now we're talking about descriptive ethical relativism. So it's basically talking about the aspect of relativism study that just describes what it met on ground. It's like a reportage ethical study. It doesn't have its mind made up of on what is right or wrong or judgmental. But normative, on the other hand, is judgmental, because the belief or moral value within a culture are right within that culture. So the mind is made up what is right to us, what is not right to us in a particular setting, and anybody that runs foul of it could be tagged. Incorrect. So basically, relativism accepts that ethical behavior cannot be objectively judged. It is subjective. In fact, it is highly subjective. So what is right, what is wrong can also vary according to our situations or circumstances. So in summary, when we are talking about what is right, what is wrong, know that we are talking about morality. Then we are talking about the study of ethics, in which we can break down into descriptive ethics, normative ethics, and meta ethics. If you are just viewing us, my name is Gbenga Olatunji, and this is Ican Associate channel on YouTube. Please, I want to believe you have enjoyed the value. Why won't you subscribe to us so that anytime we upload again, you can be the first to be notified? Click all as notification so that you can always have notification receipt. Also, share, like and comment. Anything you want to us to do more, comment on it. Like we receive comments on this particular video we are making, that non-consequential theory should be dealt with more, and that is why we are actually making this video on non-consequential theory of ethics. Next time, you can trust and be sure that James Associates will be dishing out another topic from any of our ICAN study park and the like. So we are value to life. We pride ourselves that we are value to your businesses.